where there's some folks who don't mind compromising the truth. As a matter of fact, there are people existing today who can lie so well until it becomes difficult for them to tell the truth. Have you ever met a person who lies so much they can't even tell the truth anymore? They lie about stuff that they don't even have to lie about, simply because lying has become who they are. And it disappoints you and it frustrates you, because you even say to yourself, man, I could understand if it was this, but why are you lying about that? You wonder, what is that all about? You know, Tony, how much did the milk cost? Milk cost $1.59. Tony told you it cost $3.49. Why? You know, did the mailman come, Tony? No, mailman didn't come yet. My mail sitting right in the slot. Why are you lying? I couldn't help myself. There's some individuals who will just lie simply because lying is who they are. There are individuals that exist today who can manipulate a lie detector test to the point where the lie detector test can't detect that they're lying. You know, that's a bad somebody when the lie detector test can't even detect that they're lying. And some of us are living with some of these jokers. I know you can't say it now. I know you can't raise your hand and say, that's me. I know you can't say, pray my strength in the Lord. But some of us, man, we're living with some jokers. You can't trust them as far as you see them. You know it's the truth. You know it's the truth. You know, can I get an amen somewhere in the building? I mean, there are some folks who are willing to lie for no reason at all. Lying has simply become who they've become. And when you find individuals like that, you probably need to kind of create some distance and some space, because there will come a time where they will hurt you, they will disappoint you, they will let you down. And oftentimes it's going to be that time when you needed them the most, where you were counting on them. You needed them to give you something, or to be a particular place, or to look out for your back. And because they lied to you and let you down, man, some of the worst pain that we can sometimes experience comes from the people we trust the most to tell us the truth when they wouldn't. Listen, I have gotten to a point where I've made some decisions with myself, particularly as it pertains to my marriage. And you know, I used to be... I used to love my wife so much that I was one of those guys that didn't always like to tell her the truth. Now, some of you single guys, you might not be able to relate to this, but most of the single men in the room, they'll be able to relate to this particular point, because we sometimes find ourselves in a catch-22. You know, your wife might be putting something on, or she might be getting ready for something, and then she'll say to you, honey, how does this look?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tell the story.
And while I'm sitting there having this big conversation with myself, I'm saying, should I answer that question?
Need a moment.
And what might it cost me? And so while I'm sitting there, because I may not like it, but if I know that it's her favorite outfit, I don't want to disappoint her. Do I, fellas? I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to, cause her to feel a little down or whatever. Then I take and carry all that burden on myself. And then, the day has the potential to be, a bad day.
Yes, sir.
But then as we would go on and as we learn and mature and grow, we begin to understand that it was better for me to tell her the truth rather than to lie to her. And then she would tell me the truth as well. And then that way, listen, if I walk out and I have something on that I like and she like, doesn't matter what you like.
That's right.
That's right.
Do you get that? Because her and I are one. We're a team. If the two of us are with it, doesn't matter what you're with. You know what I mean? You're not in this thing. And so it's real important. So it's vital that we begin to learn to tell the truth, because it's so important. Now, with this being said, I've got good news for you. Even though that there are some people in this life who tell lies all the time, and even though there's some individuals that you can't trust, and even though there's some individuals that you're still trying to figure out whether it was the truth or a lie, we serve a risen Savior who will do just what he says he'll do, and who did what he said he would do.
Hallelujah.
And he said, I'm going to get up, and that's just what he did. We serve a God who got up just like he said he would. We're here today And we're able to celebrate the death, the burial, and the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. Why? Because he said he would get up. Before he was crucified, Jesus referred to himself as the body, and he referred to his body as the temple. And he said, listen, if you destroy this temple in 3 days, what am I going to do? I'm going to raise that temple right back up. And he did just like he said he was going to do. Didn't he? He did just what he said he was going to do. He compared himself to Jonah. And he said that as Jonah was 3 days in the belly of a whale. He said for 3 days I'm going to be in the belly of the earth. But what's going to happen in 3 days? I'm going to get myself on up and I'm going to rise just like I said I would. And listen to the conversation between the chief priests, the Pharisees, and they are talking to Pilate. This is what they said in Matthew chapter 27 verses 62 through 64. And I'm reading the English Standard Version. They said, the next day, that is, after the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, Sir, we remember how that impostor said, while he was still alive, after 3 days, I will rise. Therefore, order the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples go and steal him away and tell the people that he had risen from the dead, and the last fraud will be worse than the first. Isn't it something? How the people who Jesus ministered to tried to act like they didn't believe his word, but they really did. And all of their actions demonstrate and display that they really believed the word they said they didn't hear. Why in the world, if you say that a man is not the Son of God, if you say that a man doesn't have the power of God, if you say that he's just a man and once he dies he can't get back up, then why would you put him in the tomb and then order soldiers to guard the tomb of a man who can't do what he said he's going to do? Why would you put soldiers in front of a tomb and then seal it? Isn't the soldiers enough? Why would you put radical military battle-worn soldiers in front of a tomb and then cause the tomb to be sealed even though the soldiers are already there, and then have them stand there for 3 days? If you didn't believe that he was going to get up like he said he did. And then they say, you know, if the disciples come and steal him, then the fraud and the lie is going to be worse than the first lie that they told. Now, what's important to me about that is that they believe Jesus and they shouldn't have. We won't believe Jesus and we should. Jesus told all of us, listen, the works that I do, greater works than this are you going to do. And some of us still hadn't done any work yet. He said, go out into the highways and hedges and compel men and women to be saved. And some of us have yet to leave our homes, let alone the community or the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Then he said, in 3 days, I'm going to get up. And we still don't believe he got up. And we think that Easter is just all about, you know, candy and clothes and all of this kind of stuff. And listen, there's nothing wrong with the kids eating jelly beans, and there's nothing wrong with the children, you know, dying eggs and all that kind of stuff, as long as they understand the story.
Yes, sir.
And as long as they don't get it twisted. And it's your responsibility to make sure that they don't get it twisted. But if you got it twisted, you can't untwist it for them. If you don't know the story, you can't tell the story. So you need to learn the story so that you can inject the story in them, so that when they go forward, they'll have an investment in them.
Yes, sir.
That they can draw on when they need it most. Now, what I like about this story, I'm getting ready to close because I'm going to be done. What I like about this story is the fact that when Jesus was walking through his earthly ministry, he had some women with him. And these chicks were ride or die. Now, I looked up the word chick in the dictionary because I just kind of, I know that sometimes, I'm supposed to be politically correct and I'm supposed to stay away from certain words. After all, I'm in the church and I'm wearing a suit and tie, and this is religious and biblical, and so you shouldn't use certain words in the church. But there's certain words that we need to utilize and execute to make a point. And I'm beginning to recognize that in the body of Christ, we need to use who will be used as opposed to trying to rely on folks who should be used. Do you understand that? And so I say that to say this. Sometimes, look, I ain't hating on the men. Y'all know I'm your brother, I'm your man, I'm your dog, all that stuff, right? All that stuff. But there sometimes comes a time where sometimes when the brother's not in place, you need a ride or die chick. You need somebody that's going to support your ministry no matter what. Somebody that's not going to run out. Somebody that's not going to leave you hanging. And I begin to, look, I couldn't find anything in the Bible to really relay the message the way I needed to. So I needed to go to the street. And when I was in the street, I used to hear this us having deaconesses, maybe we need some checks. Instead of us having some female evangelists, we need some chicks, man.